Hey there, you looking kinda cute. Don't forget to subscribe and check out my other socials for more. Enjoy. Aaron stood in front of his closet, fingers trailing over the array of fabrics hanging neatly inside. A mix of excitement and nervousness bubbled in his stomach as he contemplated the day ahead. A knock at the door interrupted his thoughts. "Come in," Aaron called out, knowing exactly who it would be. Brock stepped into the room, a duffel bag slung over his shoulder. "Ready for our Saturday adventure?" he asked with a grin. Aaron nodded, returning the smile. "Absolutely. I've been looking forward to this all week." The two friends had been exploring cross-dressing together for several months now, finding joy and freedom in expressing themselves through clothing and makeup. It had started as a curiosity, but quickly became a regular part of their lives. "So, what's on the agenda for today?" Brock asked, setting his bag down on Aaron's bed. "I was thinking we could try out some new looks," Aaron replied, gesturing to a pile of clothes he had set aside. "I found this great tutorial for a smoky eye that I've been dying to attempt." Brock's eyes lit up. "Ooh, count me in. I brought that new wig we ordered last week. Can't wait to see how it looks." They began sorting through their options, laying out dresses, skirts, blouses, and accessories across the bed. The room filled with the rustle of fabric and excited chatter as they discussed potential outfit combinations. "What do you think about this one?" Aaron held up a floral sundress against his body, twirling slightly. Brock nodded approvingly. "It's perfect for you. The colors really complement your skin tone." As they continued to sort through their options, the conversation drifted to other topics. They discussed work, mutual friends, and plans for the coming week. There was an ease to their interaction, born from years of friendship and shared experiences. Finally, they settled on their outfits for the day. Aaron chose the floral sundress paired with a denim jacket, while Brock opted for a sleek black pencil skirt and a silky blouse in a deep emerald green. "All right, time for the real magic to begin," Brock declared, unzipping his makeup bag. "Who wants to go first?" "You can start," Aaron offered. "I want to see how that new wig looks on you." Brock sat down at Aaron's vanity, carefully applying a layer of foundation. He had become quite skilled at makeup application over the past few months, his hand steady as he blended and contoured. Aaron watched, offering advice and encouragement. "Your highlight game is on point today," he commented as Brock dabbed a shimmering powder along his cheekbones. "Thanks," Brock replied, beaming at the compliment. "I've been practicing that YouTube tutorial you sent me." As Brock finished his makeup, Aaron helped him put on the new wig, a cascade of chestnut waves that fell just past his shoulders. Brock admired his reflection, turning his head from side to side. "What do you think?" he asked, running his fingers through the silky strands. "It looks amazing," Aaron assured him. "Very natural. You might need to trim the bangs a bit, but other than that, it's perfect." Brock nodded, satisfied. "Your turn," he said, standing up and gesturing for Aaron to take his place at the vanity. Aaron sat down, closing his eyes as Brock began applying his foundation. The cool touch of the makeup brush against his skin was soothing, and he felt himself relaxing into the familiar routine. "So, have you told anyone else about this?" Brock asked as he worked, his voice casual but with an undercurrent of curiosity. Aaron shook his head slightly, careful not to disrupt Brock's work. "Not yet. I mean, I want to, but I'm not sure how they'd react, you know?" Brock hummed in understanding. "Yeah, I get that. It's a big step. What about you?" Aaron asked, opening one eye to look at his friend. Brock shrugged, focusing on blending Aaron's eyeshadow. "Same boat. It's not exactly an easy conversation to have." They fell into a comfortable silence as Brock continued working on Aaron's makeup. The transformation was gradual but striking. With each sweep of the brush and stroke of eyeliner, Aaron's features softened and changed. Finally, Brock stepped back, admiring his handiwork. "Take a look," he said, unable to keep the pride out of his voice. Aaron opened his eyes, gasping softly at his reflection. The person staring back at him was both familiar and wonderfully new. His eyes were accentuated with a perfectly executed smoky eye, his cheekbones highlighted to catch the light just so. "Brock, this is... Wow, you've outdone yourself," Aaron said, turning his head to examine the makeup from different angles. "You're a great canvas to work with," Brock replied with a wink. "Now let's get dressed and see the full effect." They helped each other into their chosen outfits, adjusting straps and smoothing wrinkles. Aaron slipped on a pair of low heels while Brock opted for flats, citing his lack of practice walking in anything higher. Standing side by side in front of Aaron's full-length mirror, they took in their completed looks. The transformation was remarkable. Where two young men had stood earlier, now there were two stylish women gazing back at them. "We look incredible," Aaron breathed, smoothing down the front of his sundress. Brock nodded, a wide smile spreading across his face. "We really do. I can't believe how far we've come since we first started this." They spent a few moments taking selfies and admiring their outfits from different angles. There was a palpable sense of joy and freedom in the room, a celebration of self-expression and friendship. "So what's the plan now?" Brock asked, adjusting his wig slightly. "Are we staying in, or—" Aaron considered for a moment. "Well, my parents aren't supposed to be home until late tonight. We could go downstairs, maybe watch a movie or something. It'd be nice to just relax and enjoy being dressed up without worrying about anyone seeing us." Brock nodded enthusiastically. "Sounds perfect. I brought some nail polish too, if you want to do our nails while we watch." "Absolutely," Aaron agreed. "Let's head down." They made their way out of the bedroom and down the stairs, the unfamiliar click of heels against hardwood echoing in the quiet house. Aaron led the way, already mentally deciding which movie they should watch. As they rounded the corner into the living room, both froze in their tracks. Sitting on the couch, looking equally surprised, were Aaron's mother and Brock's mother. For a moment, no one spoke. The silence stretched out, thick with tension and unasked questions. Aaron felt his heart pounding in his chest, his mind racing with 1,000 explanations and apologies. It was Aaron's mother who broke the silence. "Aaron?" she asked, her voice a mix of confusion and concern. "Is that you?" Aaron swallowed hard, fighting the urge to run back upstairs. "Mom," he said, his voice shaky. We didn't know you'd be home." Brock's mother stood up slowly, her eyes moving between her son and Aaron. "Brock, what's going on?" Brock stepped forward slightly, unconsciously placing himself between Aaron and their mothers. "We can explain," he said, his voice steadier than he felt. Aaron's mother held up a hand, her expression softening. "Why don't you both sit down? I think we all need to talk." Hesitantly, Aaron and Brock moved to sit on the love seat across from their mothers. The fabric of their dresses rustled as they sat, a stark reminder of their current state. "So," Brock's mother began, her tone careful and measured. "How long has this been going on?" Aaron and Brock exchanged a glance, silently debating who should speak first. Finally, Aaron took a deep breath and answered. "A few months," he said, his hands fidgeting with the hem of his dress. "We've been exploring this together for a while now." "Exploring what exactly?" Aaron's mother asked, her brow furrowed in confusion. Brock spoke up, his voice gaining strength as he explained. "Crossdressing. We've been experimenting with different clothes, makeup, wigs. It's something we both enjoy." The mothers exchanged a look, a silent conversation passing between them. Aaron felt his stomach clench, bracing himself for anger or disappointment. To his surprise, his mother's next words were filled with curiosity rather than judgment. "Why didn't you tell us?" she asked softly. Aaron felt tears prick at the corners of his eyes, threatening to ruin his carefully applied makeup. "We were scared," he admitted. "We didn't know how you'd react. We thought you might be ashamed of us." Brock's mother leaned forward, her expression earnest. "Oh, honey, we could never be ashamed of you." Either of you. We love you no matter what." "Exactly," Oran's mother agreed, nodding. "We just wish you had felt comfortable enough to share this with us sooner. We want to understand." Brock and Oran looked at each other, relief washing over them. Slowly, they began to explain how they had first discovered their interest in cross-dressing, the joy and freedom they found in it, the support they'd given each other throughout the process. As they talked, their mothers listened attentively, occasionally asking questions, but never interrupting or judging. The tension in the room gradually dissipated, replaced by an atmosphere of open communication and acceptance. "So, this isn't about wanting to be women permanently?" Brock's mother asked, her tone curious rather than accusatory. Brock shook his head. "No, it's not about that. For us, it's more about expression. It's fun. It's freeing. It lets us explore different aspects of ourselves." Aaron nodded in agreement. "Exactly. We're comfortable with who we are as men. This is just another way of expressing ourselves." Their mothers nodded, processing this information. There was a moment of thoughtful silence before Oran's mother spoke again. "Well," she said, a small smile playing at her lips, "I have to say, you both look absolutely stunning. Whoever did your makeup did an incredible job." Brock beamed at the compliment. "That would be me," he said proudly. "I've been practicing a lot." "It shows," Brock's mother said, her eyes twinkling. "You know, I used to be pretty good with a makeup brush myself back in the day. Maybe I could give you some tips sometime?" Brock's eyes widened in surprise and delight. "Really? You'd be okay with that?" His mother nodded, her smile growing. "Of course, if this is something that makes you happy, then I want to support you. Both of you," she added, looking at Oran. Oran felt a wave of emotion wash over him. He had never dared to hope for this level of acceptance and support. "Thank you," he said, his voice thick with unshed tears. That means everything to us." His own mother reached out, placing a gentle hand on his knee. "We love you, sweetheart. All we want is for you to be happy and true to yourself. If this is part of that, then we're here for you." The room fell quiet again, but this time the silence was comfortable, filled with unspoken love and understanding. After a moment, Iran's mother cleared her throat, a mischievous glint in her eye. "So," she said, leaning forward conspiratorially, "where did you get that adorable sundress? The pattern is just darling." Aaron laughed, the last of his tension melting away. "Actually, I found it at that little boutique downtown. You know, the one with the blue awning? Oh, I love that place," Brock's mother exclaimed. "They always have the cutest accessories, too." Just like that, the conversation shifted. They discussed fashion, swapped makeup tips, and even started planning a shopping trip together. The afternoon stretched on, filled with laughter, questions, and a deepening bond between mothers and sons. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the living room, Oran couldn't help but marvel at how differently this day had turned out from what he and Brock had planned. What had started as a potential disaster had transformed into something beautiful, a moment of connection, acceptance, and love. Brock caught his eye, a silent understanding passing between them. They both knew that this was just the beginning. There would be more conversations, more explanations to other family members and friends. But for now, in this moment, they were seen, accepted, and loved for exactly who they were. As the evening wore on, the conversation flowed easily, touching on various aspects of their lives that they had previously kept hidden. Aaron's mother, always the practical one, began to ask more detailed questions about their cross-dressing experiences. "So, do you have any trouble finding clothes that fit properly?" she inquired, her brow furrowed in thought. "I imagine it must be challenging, given the differences in body shapes." Brock nodded enthusiastically, grateful for the opportunity to discuss the practicalities. "It can be tricky," he admitted. "We've had to learn a lot about tailoring and alterations. There are some great online resources for cross-dressers that have been really helpful." "Oh, that's fascinating," Brock's mother chimed in. "I used to do a bit of sewing back in the day. Maybe I could help with some alterations if you need it." The offer brought a fresh wave of emotion to Brock's eyes. "That would be amazing, Mom. Thank you." Aron's mother, not to be outdone, added her own suggestion. "You know, I have a friend who works as a stylist. I bet she'd have some great tips for dressing to flatter different body types. Would you be interested in talking to her?" Aaron and Brock exchanged excited glances. "Absolutely," Aaron replied. "That would be incredibly helpful." As the conversation continued, both Aron and Brock found themselves relaxing more and more. The fear and anxiety that had gripped them earlier had completely dissipated, replaced by a sense of relief and joy. "I have to ask," Aaron's mother said, leaning forward with a curious expression. "Do you have different names you use when you're dressed like this?" Aaron felt a blush creep up his cheeks. "We do, actually. When I'm dressed like this, I go by Arya. And I go by Brianna," Brock added, a shy smile playing on his lips. Their mothers tested out the names, rolling them around on their tongues. "Arya and Brianna," Aron's mother mused. "Those are lovely names. They suit you both." The simple act of hearing their chosen names spoken by their mothers without judgment or hesitation meant more to Aaron and Brock than they could express. It was a validation they hadn't even realized they were seeking. As the evening progressed, the conversation shifted to more practical matters. "So how often do you do this?" Brock's mother asked. "Is it just when you're here at Aron's house?" Brock nodded. "For now, yes. We've been too nervous to go out in public like this. Plus, we're still learning and improving our skills." "Well," Aaron's mother said, a determined look in her eye, "if you ever want to try going out, we'd be happy to accompany you. For support, you know." The offer hung in the air for a moment, its significance not lost on anyone in the room. It was more than just an offer of companionship. It was a promise of unwavering support and protection. That would be incredible," Oren managed to say, his voice thick with emotion. "Thank you, Mom. Really." As the night wore on, the conversation continued to flow freely. They discussed everything from the challenges of walking in heels to the intricacies of contouring. Aaron and Brock shared stories of their early attempts at makeup, eliciting laughter and sympathetic groans from their mothers. "Oh, honey," Brock's mother said, wiping tears of laughter from her eyes after a particularly amusing anecdote about a disastrous attempt at false eyelashes. "We've all been there. I remember the first time I tried to do a cat eye. I looked like I'd been in a fight with a Sharpie." The shared laughter that followed was cathartic, a release of tension and a celebration of shared experiences. It struck Aron how similar this conversation was to any other mother-daughter bonding session over beauty tips and fashion advice. The fact that he and Brock were biologically male seemed to matter less and less as the night went on. As midnight approached, Aaron stifled a yawn. The emotional roller coaster of the day, combined with the late hour, was starting to take its toll. "Oh, look at the time," Aaron's mother exclaimed. "We've been talking for hours. Brock, dear, would you like to stay the night? It's awfully late to be driving home." Brock looked to his own mother, who nodded her approval. "That would be great, thank you," he said gratefully. As they all stood to head to bed, Aron's mother paused, a thoughtful expression on her face. "You know," she said slowly, "if you boys, if Arya and Brianna would like to join us for breakfast in the morning, that would be lovely. We could continue our chat over pancakes." The offer hung in the air, its significance not lost on anyone. It was an invitation to be themselves, fully and openly in the light of day. It was acceptance in its purest form. Aron and Brock exchanged glances, a silent conversation passing between them. Finally, Aron spoke. "We'd love that, Mom. Thank you." With hugs all around and promises of more conversation in the morning, they headed upstairs. As Aaron and Brock prepared for bed, carefully removing their makeup and storing their outfits, there was a palpable sense of relief and joy in the air. Can you believe how this day turned out? Brock asked as he carefully hung up his skirt. Aaron shook his head, still somewhat in awe. I keep thinking I'm going to wake up and find out it was all a dream. I never expected. I hoped, but I know, Brock agreed, understanding perfectly what Aaron was struggling to express. It's more than we could have ever asked for. As they settled into bed, Aaron found himself reflecting on the day's events. What had started as a secret, something they had hidden away in shame and fear, had blossomed into a shared experience, a point of connection not just between the two of them but with their mothers as well. Hey, Brock, Aaron whispered into the darkness. Yeah? I'm really glad we don't have to hide anymore. There was a moment of silence before Brock replied, his voice thick with emotion. Me too, Aaron. Me too. As they drifted off to sleep, both felt a sense of peace and acceptance they had never known before. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new conversations, but for now they were content in the knowledge that they were loved and accepted for exactly who they were. Thanks for watching. Check out Patreon if you want to have early access to the other parts. If not, it will be online in a couple of days.